in the wake of Hotfix 30.1, we've got actually a whole raft of other fixes that we've been working on. Hotfix 30.1, with that fix to the supply locker crash, was really, really urgent for us to get out because there were a lot of people who were just unable to play the game. So we had to get that one out as quickly as possible. But there were actually a lot of other things that we wanted to tweak and fix in the wake of Update 30 that we're still working on right now. So you can expect, we don't have a date for it, but you can expect that there's going to be another hotfix sometime down the line. And we wanted to talk through the known issues that we've found and or that you have generally reported to us, so that we can let you know we are working on these, and you should expect a fix of these sometime in the future. So the first one we should bring up is actually the one that is the hardest for us to fix, which is floaty backpacks. Rohan, can you describe? So I have not actually experienced the floaty backpacks in the game. Can you describe what's actually going on with these things?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're seeing just kind of just general, if someone goes to crouch and you could see that the backpack is completely lopsided from the NPC, or sorry, from the character model. And so when they go to stand back up, it looks almost completely detached. That's some of them. Some of them are just straight up floating off rip. Some of them are when you pick up the rucksack for any supplies or anything like that, it is just kind of hanging off of the player. Or if a player starts running, it is following behind them, but not actually attached to the character model. So that was as we and our community is definitely into the immersion portion of the game. So it's definitely a ton of tickets coming in about it, and mostly about like it's completely taking me out of the game type
I
of things.
I don't know what's going on because that happens to me when I go hiking every time.
Well, so actually, one of my La Coalición, one of our community leaders, basically, he sent us a video of somebody invented a backpack that reduces jostling by mounting the backpack on a frame, so the backpack moves in isolation from you, and it actually looked just like the bug. And so he was like sharing that video with us. It got a big laugh around the audience.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's
it
a
was
real backpack.
hilarious.
That's a real thing.
Yeah,
So we're just
absolutely.
we're just deepening the immersion by simulating that type of backpack. But so the problem is that's actually a really difficult bug to track down. We've got some leads, we're following up some possibilities, but we can't guarantee yet that we're going to have a solid fix for this in the next time we release a patch. Just because this is one of those weird bugs. If those of you who've been with us for a really long time might remember our audio apocalypse bug from around like update 3 or 4. And so yeah, Brant is like looking traumatized a little bit from that one because like one of the things we did was we attempted. The problem was it was really difficult to just make that bug happen on purpose. And so when you can't make a bug happen on purpose, you try to fix it, but you don't know if you actually have because you can't run through a set of reproduction steps and prove to yourself that you've actually fixed it. So we actually, I think we released, I don't remember what number it was. It might have been update 3. We released and said, hey, we think we've got a fix for the audio apocalypse bug. Try it out and see if it's fixed. And we got a raft of responses saying, no, you did not fix the bug. So we're like, okay, sorry. And so we spent the next update actually figuring it out. And I believe it might have been Joe Swarner, or maybe it was somebody in QA, found finally a set of steps you could go through to definitely make the bug happen every time. So we actually knew when we had fixed it. So this is one of those where we might ship a fix that we think is a fix to this bug. We can't guarantee it's going to be fixed though. We're still working hard on it. And if we do find a surefire solution, then great, we'll put it in there. But if we can't for sure, then that might stick around a little bit longer. And we apologize in advance. But there's a bunch of other fixes that we can make to the game that are actually a lot more solid. One of the complaints that people had quite a bit was about caliber sorting in the game. And actually, I think I can pop over into the game here and sort of show you what we're talking about. I think we actually talked about this a little bit in the previous stream we did. But basically, there were a couple of little problems with the way that we were sorting ranged weapons in the supply locker, where not only like right now, the fact that I've got a stack of light bolts and a second stack of light bolts, that causes some disruption with the ordering of all the items in here. But also, we were prioritizing basically, in some cases, I think, the type of weapon over the caliber of weapon. So what the situation you were used to a long time ago, where when you highlight a particular ammo type, you can see a cluster of all of those weapons that use that ammo type in the supply locker. So if you're like, okay, well, I've got a ton of 5.56, I should go and look at the section of guns that are all 5.56 and grab one that I can afford to use. that got a little bit disrupted in update 30. And so folks have gone back and like refactored the way that the sorting works so that sorting by type should actually cluster all of the calibers together the way that it used to. So that's one that we're working on. And also, we also fixed some issues with some of these sorting screens resorting multiple times. Like as you added things and subtracted things from the supply locker, sometimes things would resort and get scrambled around. We're also working on a fix for that. And finally, in the supply locker, yeah, people were also running into some performance issues, and like Rohan and Brent, like we've been sort of. I think we need to come up with some like amazing, ridiculous test save because we will try out like when we made these changes to the supply locker, we will try out the game a bunch of different ways. But the thing we can never quite try out is what a save game looks like out in the wild. And some people out there had literally thousands of guns in their supply locker, which I think is something we didn't test. I don't think we tested, like we might have tested hundreds of guns. We didn't test 10,000 guns. And there's some folks out there who had so much stuff in their supply locker that basically the game would just grind to a crawl whenever they opened it up. So we've had another look at it. We've made some fixes. Hopefully those of you who have got that problem should see that resolved. And let's see here. Oh, here's another thing that I can actually show you in my game. So last time we did this official stream, I actually brought this community. I legacied with this community, and I brought them into Cascade Hills and settled them. I actually settled them at Lock and Key, and then I realized I wanted to move somewhere else, and so I've since moved them over to More and More Warehouse. But one thing that, because this is a community that legacied and then continued, a problem happened at my base, which is my command center is back down to level 1. I had a maxed out command center with this group for ages, but now it got knocked down to level 1. I believe that happened to everybody else too. That's a really common bug, isn't it, Rohan? Like it pretty much happens to everybody.
Correct. We've seen a few of them come in for sure. Trying to explain it as well, because it does specifically only happen to legacy communities.
Yeah, so it's not going to happen like if you move maps or something like that. It's not going to happen there, but you will lose some progress in your command center. So, for instance, if you recruited a programmer just to get your command center all the way up and then exiled them or dismissed them, you can be kind of screwed over because now you've got your command center back at square one, and you've got to level it up again, which I'm going to do right here. So that is fixed. We found the problem. That is fixed, and it was just a simple miscommunication, and so it was pretty easy to resolve, as far as I understand. I shouldn't say that people's jobs are easy when they're not here to tell me that they're not. But anyway, so that should be fixed. At some time in the future. There was another issue where characters' traits, particularly, I believe it was Rohan. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was new characters were having their traits show up without any effects. You see the green and the red text on here that's telling you what the traits do. That they were showing up with no green or red text and no effects. Am I describing that right?
Yeah, and sometimes they were just coming in blank, right? Like
just
there
no
would
traits
be
at all.
Nothing there. Yeah, like nothing is there, but they clearly should have them. So that's another issue we were running into as well.
Okay, yeah, so that one was an obnoxious one. At first, I was hoping that it was just the text is missing. It's fine, but we'll fix the text. It'll be good. But I think that actually some of the traits were showing up with genuinely not having their intended effects. So you get that special trait you've been looking for a long time, and then it doesn't actually do anything, which is very frustrating. So, so Zoe put some time into that, fixed that one, and also fixed some translation issues we were having around traits and stuff like that at the same time. And she also fixed a problem with morale debuffs. And so, when you are running around with your community, you've got this morale list, which I can't navigate to for some reason, that is basically characters will, for whatever reason, get these morale buffs put on them. And most of them are temporary, or they only last as long as the cause is around. But some of these were following characters into the legacy pool, which means they would emerge from the legacy pool with these on them, which would be kind of a problem. And so that bug is also being worked on. We should have a fix for that sometime soon. There was another one that I had not experienced, which was with mods. Let me actually quickly run over here and see. Okay, let's see what kind of weapon mods I've got down here. Do I have multiple mods of the same type? All the way to the bottom of the list. Yes, okay, so I've got a couple of professional breaks all stacked up. And what do I have? Okay, I've got an advanced break here. So I'm going to take that advanced break off. Let's assign a professional break onto... I've never tried this before. I don't know if I'm going to get the bug or not. But you assign a break onto this weapon right here. And now if I take the same exact break and try to assign it again... Okay, so it looks like it didn't happen to me because I did actually get the original break back. But apparently, it was possible to get into a situation where you would actually destroy one of your breaks. You would just keep assigning breaks, and they would be going into a black hole and disappearing for some players. So that is apparently fixed. Like at least at the build that we've got at work. One thing that folks were noticing is the fact that they were getting messages about assault hordes attacking people. So those of you who are in the public test realm would be aware that assault hordes are like a thing that is involved with our new upcoming refactor of infestations and hordes and how they work. And so seeing that in the core game was uncomfortable because those features have not moved over, but some of the notifications from them had. So players were like, oh no, what happened? Did we get the new infestation feature by accident? And no, you didn't get the whole infestation feature. You just got those notifications, and it was uncomfortable. But they should be gone sometime soon. And then I think a lot of the other stuff kind of falls into sort of some broader categories. There were some other the brightness and gamma screen was broken. The screen where you like adjust the brightness back and forth and figure out how the game should look good on your monitor. That screen was broken, and we're fixing it behind the scenes over here. There were also a few more rare crashes that weren't nearly as common as the supply locker crash. We've also found some of those and killed them. We're also working on a lot of the just minor UX issues, user experience issues, where the user interface was just not doing what you expected it to. Like, for instance, going back after you're looking at the details of a survivor in the legacy pool, if you back out again and look at them, they would the cursor would be on the wrong survivor, and so now we're changing that to keep it consistent and make it easier to navigate. Stuff like that. And finally, there's also some translation issues, but those are done. Look, I gotta give an extra special thanks to La Coalición for letting us know about all of these translation issues that he and his community have been finding in the Spanish version of the game. We have shipped those problems off to the team that does localization. That is done out of house, and so I'm not dead certain how long it's going to take to get better translations back. But so I can't promise that. I'm not promising any of these for any particular date or time. But I'm especially not promising this one for the next hotfix because we're not sure. When we're not doing it ourselves, it's a little bit harder to make specific promises. But there you go. So there's a lot of stuff in the works. We've heard a lot of your messages, and we just want to let you know we are working on these things. And though we can't give you, because some of these bugs are still kind of up in the air being worked on, we can't give you exact dates on when a hotfix is going to be able to come out. We do want you to know that we're working on them. We're aware of them, and we've heard your messages, mostly through Rohan, whose job it is to receive your messages and pass it to the rest of us. We've heard them, and we are working on them.